Welcome and thanks for logging on to WYCC.org for the after show In the Loop. Joining us today are our guests, Darlene Jackson, music producer and DJ, Steve Edwards, Deputy Director of Programming for the Institute of Politics at the University of Chicago, and Vanessa Hall, founder of Hall Consulting. Thank you all for being here and welcome.
Thank you.
Office Depot is the latest company now asking Illinois for $53 million in tax breaks, threatening to take its 2,000 jobs and leave the state. The state has done this before to companies like Sears. Steve, where do you draw the line?
Well, I think that's really, really hard, and you've seen what's happened over the last several years. Some of it has been really instigated, I think, by the high corporate tax rates in this state. Illinois has among the highest tax rates in the country, and so you have companies that are looking to get relief from that. And then you have other states, as we've seen, Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, Governor Walker coming down here saying, well, why don't you come to our state? So I think it puts all of the incentives on the side of the company to ask and see how much they can actually get in return for this. And, some of these companies have had success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's really important to make sure that we analyze the return analysis to make sure that these companies will be creating a sufficient amount of jobs and also start growing in our state. Because I mean, we do need companies to come into our state. It's important for our economic development here, but we need to make sure that we're getting enough in return as well.
And Darlene, Governor Quinn is saying that, look, we have a $100 billion pension crisis in Illinois. We have to freeze these tax breaks until we get that figured out.
I think that we have to start saying, at some point, this is all we have to give, and we can't give you any more. I think that, Wrigley, I guess there are about 10 companies right now that have their hands out saying, well, if you want us to stay or if you want us to be here, and ADM is the biggest company in Illinois, and it's saying, we want money. Wrigley Field, they're going to get money for their renovations, and I guess it is a little bit of a tit for tat. ADM's going to create some jobs. Wrigley's going to take care of the renovations. They're going to pay a little bit more in property taxes. I don't know. It's a little bit of 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other. But I don't know if it balances out for the taxpayers. I don't know if the taxpayer ever wins.
Well, and the other thing is, I mean, to both of your points, Illinois needs every dollar of revenue it can get its hand on right now because of the financial crisis. But Illinois also needs every new job it can possibly get its hand on as well because of the unemployment situation, which is also higher than the national average, which sort of puts Illinois in this box. I think one thing to watch for, especially after the first of the year, will be to see if there's a larger discussion that emanates in Springfield around tax reform and about trying to restructure the tax code in this state. Lawmakers I talk to on all sides will admit that it's this patchwork effect that's not really working. They need to figure out how to deal with the current income tax increase that's already in place and set to expire soon. So I wouldn't be surprised if they actually revisit all of this as part of a package. Whether they can actually come to agreement on it, I think, is a much bigger question.
Well, if you talk about the line the governor has drawn in the sand regarding pensions and these tax breaks, in an election year, can he afford to lose on either front if companies decide we're taking our employees and going to Florida?
Yeah, I mean, you can see the TV ads created right now if we start to see that flow. I mean, already he's going to have to answer for an economy that's behind the national average, which is already struggling a bit. So he's going to have to answer for that. And if you can see the ads, X company leaving, Y company leaving, good jobs. Quinn, where are you on this? So, I think I would be surprised if he doesn't do everything he possibly can to keep these companies. I mean, I think that's where this balance falls in this political climate right now. The fiscal issues, be damned.
But it would be nice if there was some sort of equality or equity about how they decide, and how much they decide to give. Some get this, and some get nothing. So it'd be nice if there was a little bit of across-the-board fairness.
Well, and labor is very important to him too, right?
Yeah, and we need to make sure that we stay competitive, because other cities are going to roll out the red carpet for all these companies. So we need to make sure that
we got Indiana on the other side,
It's bad enough that we may be losing jobs, but we may also be losing bragging rights to the nation's biggest building, because next year the World Trade Center is going to be 1,776 feet. It's going to beat out the Willis Tower. wounded pride
The
here.
horrors of it all. I mean, this is just maybe the worst possible news we could have had.
It's such a symbolic victory, though, for New York and for what the World Trade Center or One Trade Center stands for now. You know, I guess, you know, you can't, we couldn't even keep the name Sears on it. So we have to give it up at some point. And when you compare it to across the world, you know, it really starts to fall down in the rankings anyway. So, you know, it's always going to be the tallest building here in Chicago. We should just hold on to that.
Well, there's still that hole in the ground on
Right.
Lakeshore Drive where the Spire was supposed to
True.
go.
The Santiago Calatrava building. Yeah.
But there's some new traction there with the developer he's trying to get it done again. So it may happen.
Yeah, Chicago chest thumping, I think, won't permit this state of affairs to stand too long. So I would expect somebody to come forth with a taller yet soon.
Yeah, we're all about competition here, so
Well,
we'll find
can
a way.
Take it to heart that the tallest building in Dubai was designed here in Chicago. So at least we have that going for us.
Exactly.
Darlene Jackson, Steve Edwards, and Vanessa Hall, thank you. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.